Oh yeah, Cleve Gibbons.
Yeah.
Cleve's been out a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So yeah, we'll get everybody up here on the dock and I'll point some things out for you. And then we'll get everybody loaded in the boat, all right? So come on up, and if you guys back up that way, Jack's gonna get a group shot right here if you want to smile and take a look at Jack. If you want to be in a picture. Me, I'll show you where you want to ride. All of these seats have a hand grip, and everybody needs to use that hand grip. The other thing is there's places to put your feet as well. And so every seat's gonna have a place for your feet, your hands, and then the fifth point of contact is going to be your hind end. Okay, your butt needs to be in the seat. When you see this signal, that means the boat's going to change ends very rapidly. And if you're not sitting down with the hands and feet held on, you're going to feel the centrifugal force and going to get slung around a bit. So have your hands, your feet in place when I give the spin signal. I'll also try to give you a verbal cue at the same time, but if you see this, knock your buddy on the side of you and say, hey, get ready, we're going to spin. And before you do anything crazy, make sure you get a few spins under your belt and feel what's going on. All right? If we're in choppy water, the water gets a little rough, you can pick your butt up out of the seat a little bit, and that will smooth the ride out. But remember, when you spin all the way down, hands, feet, butt contact, right? If you end up in the middle seat, we've got paddles and a fire extinguisher there. Paddles are if the engine gets really quiet, we're going to need to paddle to shore, okay? The fire extinguisher, we all know how to use one of those, and at that point it probably becomes a swimming trip, and we won't worry about it. But there's other fire extinguishers under the engine compartment at the driver's seat as well. Any questions about anything? All right, we'll be on the Colorado River for about an hour, just under an hour. We'll be back here. We're going to be wet. This is the adventure trip. So everybody be paying attention and looking forward and smiling, because Jack's going to be taking our picture too. All right. What I'd like to do, I want to load this back seat, and I'd like for these two guys that are a little shorter, these birthday guys, to be sitting in the back seat, and that'll be the highest elevation, so they can see the best. And what I'd like to do is put a parent on each side, and so we can get four. We could probably, I think let's do 4 in the back seat. So 1 parent out of the group of 3 if we could, and then you 2 back here with the parents on the outside. All right, does that work? All right, you want to come on in first? All right. Come on down. When you come, let's have Dad load first, okay? When you load, step right here on the edge of the boat here, and I can give you a hand, and then right into the seat. You can step on the seat, okay? Come on down.
Who do you want sitting with you? Shauna or
Come on down, bud. Whoever would like. You know what?
Okay.
Why don't you guys both, why don't you go ahead and load in. We're going to put you in between the boys, okay?
Oh, okay.
You can step right back onto the back, and then you can climb in right between the boys. There you go. And then that way you guys are all together.
Oh,
okay. Is that all right?
Yeah.
You make sure they stay in line, all right? There you go. I'd like to have the 2 of you load in the middle seat.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I'm going to have you load last, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to have you get on last. And then the 2 of you, any back issues? Any back problems, recent surgery?
No.
Okay, you guys, I'll have you ride in the front if you would. And let's have you ride in the middle. He's a little heavier than you are. Come on down. All right, and then the 2 of you?
Yeah.
Are you willing and able to get the paddles out if we need them?
Oh yeah.
Okay, come on down.
Oh, yeah.
All right, exit row of the airplane.
Thank you.
Yep, you bet.
Do you want in the middle? Do you want this side?
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm Tarzan.
Yeah.
You ready?
You scared?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We can move them later for the picture.
this one the wet shot. There you go.
Yeah, he got us.
So, does anybody need to go to the bathroom?
Not now.
All right.
I'm already done.
We're going to go do another spin right down here at this rocky point.
Okay.
That was fun.
Is it flashing?
Yes. Very close.
Okay, I guess we can put up with that, huh? Call that one the whiplash corner. Nah, you did good. You're holding on good. So, a lot of spins, a lot of grins, right? All good stuff. But there's a lot of wildlife on this trip too, potentially. Should be seeing some eagles while we're down here, maybe osprey. Bears have been fairly common in the last couple weeks, and elk as well. So keep your eyes peeled. This next 2 miles seems to hold a fair amount of wildlife. We're gonna go cruise through here, okay?
Great.
All right, here we go.
So your camera is not enough.
Guys, right over here, you can see up about 3/4 of the way up in the tallest tree.
Oh yeah.
The bald
See 'em.
eagle.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's one in these trees too. So these bald eagles, there are pairs of them all the way down the Colorado River in Colorado. About every 6 or 8 miles, you find a nesting pair of bald eagles. This one belongs to a nest just a little bit downstream. I'll try to point it out when we go past it. They have chicks right now, and the chicks are kind of out learning to be eagles right now, but they're huge. They're the same size as the adults. They just don't have the white head yet. So it takes about 3 or 4 years for him to get that white head.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and at that point, that's when they get breeding maturity as well. So the white-headed ones are all of breeding age. But 25 years ago, when I just started working in Colorado on the rivers, there was one breeding pair in Colorado on the Colorado River. And and now we say they're more common than chickens. So, which is true. I've never seen a chicken down here. So, anyway, the legs on the chicken are better, or at least I've heard. We're gonna go down a little bit further. This is the Wild Horse Sanctuary. The start of it over here on the right, these kind of rough hills, and it goes almost all the way to Grand Junction and holds about 150 wild horses, where they try to keep the populations. Yeah, one of the few wild horse preserves in the U.S. So, cool little area. Everybody good?
We're good.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Everybody's laughing and smiling.
We're good.
Nobody's frowning. All right, I like it.
We're good.
So, hey, the eagle nest that belongs to that eagle that we saw is just down here on the right side, but it's really, really shallow, and I won't be able to stop down there, but I'll point, and that's what I'm pointing at is that eagle nest.
Oh, okay.
This thing's produced in the last 4 years 8 eagle chicks, so every year they produce 2. Yeah, that's why they're spreading so quickly. All right, here we go. There's the nest, just going out of view, but there's a better view as we get downstream.
I think it flashes for the water because it's there. It's that very blue one.
getting really nice. I like your hair, man.
Can you see okay? Can you see okay? I'm not in your way.
No, you're
Okay.
So we call this area playing in the median, so we got traffic going each way, right? And this is where our moms always told us not to play. It was between the lanes of the interstate, right? But the rivers here is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
We're gonna go down just a little bit further. There's a little canyon coming in, and I think we've got really good light right now to see the old wagon trail that goes through Tibet Canyon. So we'll go run down there and see if the light's right to be able to see it. All good?
Good.
All right. Check. You guys see the train downstream?
Uh-huh.
And look, it's about the second from the car from the last one. You look and there's an old road that kind of angles up the hillside right from the back of that train car. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
So that was built in 1897 by the guy that founded Tibet, Dr. Tibet. And he moved to Tibet in 1895, but there wasn't a good route to Grand Junction. You could go back and up through Roan Creek and over the Book Cliffs into Fruta, 3 or 4 day ride. You could go up Grand Mesa and into Mesa, town of Mesa, Rapid Creek into Palisade, 3 day ride, right? So him and another guy got the money together, $16,000 in 1897, and they built this 2-track road so that it was only a 2 day ride to Grand Junction, right? But $16,000 they built this trail through here. It's at least 20 miles of trail through the cliffs. Crazy what, I mean, you couldn't build a foot of highway for $16,000.
$16 million.
Yeah. So it was an overnight deal, and because of that, some of you may have seen the old chimney by the tunnels. Next time you're going through, that chimney is the old stage stop. That was the overnight spot where you spent the hotel, if you will, where you spent the night. So yeah, pretty cool. Dr. DeBeck that founded the town was a lawyer, he's a physician and a doctor, same thing, right? But he was also the mayor, and he was the postmaster. And then they caught him selling liquor at the post office, and they kicked him off of that job. But yeah, the Beck family was still around even in the 70s here, but I can't find any of the Becks left here in Tibet. Anyway, we're gonna go back upstream. We're gonna do the rest of the trip up there. Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna call these guys. Jet Boat Base, Mustang heading back at Horseshoe Canyon. All right, guys, here we go. I don't know how many it takes. We'll keep trying. See if anybody gets tired of it. Nice view of the Rhone Plateau. You can just see the peaks on the Rhone Plateau up here. As we get around this next corner, they're going to be our major view. The cliffs are almost 2,000 feet from top to bottom. So really energy-rich area. Oil shale up there, so there's oil in the rock, and then there's a lot of natural gas stored up there as well. So neat spot.
Is the light still flashing on the camera?
Keep on asking me, okay? Keep on asking me.
Not much deep water right here. There's really a small spot we got to spin in. Hey, this is Mount Logan right here. Nice view of Mount Logan, the highest peak you can see on the Rhone Plateau. And Mount Logan's named after Harvey Logan. And Harvey Logan, most people had never heard of Harvey Logan. I know I sure hadn't. But I heard of Kid Curry, the gang and outlaw that hung out with Butch and Sundance. Was Harvey Logan was his given name. Harvey Logan was known as the last guy to pull off a train heist horseback in Colorado. And so up in Parachute, he had a shootout with a train, trying to get the gold or the cash or whatever it was, and got wounded and told his gang, he says, "They're never going to get me alive, boys." And they didn't. He took his own life during that raid. But he was buried up near Doc Holliday. So if you're in Glenwood Springs, you can go up and find Harvey Logan's grave, and that was Kid Curry. So Mount Logan's named after him. I think the people at Quebec must have had a certain level of respect for the guy to give him a mountain named after him, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He probably wasn't as bad as the posses that were chasing him, right? Unless you had a train full of gold. Everybody good?
Oh yeah.
All right. smooth. You have to spin there. This is the deepest spot anywhere that we could find. Scott, one of our drivers, got tired of not being able to answer how deep it was. So he brought his fish finder out and spent a whole day looking for the deepest spot that he could find, and we're right over the top of it. It's 17 feet right here.
17.
So yeah, a lot of area is like 4 to 6 feet deep, and the boat only needs 4 inches when it's up and moving, but this is the deepest spot that we could find by far. So right here. Yeah, pretty deep, huh? 4 inches. Yeah, that's the beauty of a jet boat in a river. You do need 2 or 3 feet to get it moving though, because we're set pretty deep. Jack's gonna take our picture again on the way up. So look good, everybody get their hair done. Yours is perfect. Everybody's still having fun, I think, huh? Just a little bit. Here's our last shots, guys. Try to look the best you can. All right. We're gonna do some more upstream and a little bit more choppy water upstream, so remember to get your butt up out of the seat if it gets too choppy, all right? Still want to be sitting for the spins, though. off out here. There were 3 of them downstream. When we just started the trip, there were 3 that took off in front of us. They're cormorants, and they're fish eaters. You don't see them around here very often. It's actually pretty rare to see those. If I see one, I'll try to point it out to you. There's an inner tube. Anybody lose their inner tube? Believe it or not, that thing's been there for 2 weeks now. We've tried to go over and get it. It's just too shallow to get the boat over there. Someday it's going to get loose. I don't know. I don't know where the tuber is, though. This is the old ferry crossing for Quebec. So before you had bridges, you had a ferryman whose business it was to move people across the river. And this guy had a rope that went across the river right here, and a big raft made out of logs and planks. And then you'd drive your buggy out onto that, and then he'd move you across the river with a couple sacks of grain and charge you, and that was how the guy made his living. Those of you that live here, those bridges that we just went under, next time you're going eastbound and you go over those bridges, immediately as you cross them, look down and to the right. And the old cabin from the guy that ran the ferry here is still there. It's an old dugout cabin. So you may have seen it before, but it's just mainly a roof. It's dug out into a hillside. So keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
Might see some eagles up here too. A couple nests. Keep your eyes peeled. We almost stayed dry, didn't we? Yeah. You got a little mist up there. Yeah. This is all a state wildlife area here, Quebec State Wildlife Area, and anybody that buys hunting or fishing licenses, a little bit of all that money goes to state wildlife areas in order to create habitat and also to create access for hunters and fishermen. Right here, you can see somebody's built a duck blind for this winter. And it's an open area, a public area that if you've got a hunting or fishing license and you're in Colorado, you can come use this area. So, but most importantly, it's for the deer and the elk in the winter time so that they can get off the big mountains up there and have a place to winter and feed throughout the winter and be able to get through the deep snow. We're gonna go up just a little bit further, guys. Some nice signs of fall starting to pop out. Just in the last couple of days, we're starting to get some yellow in the trees. Kind of dry going this way. We've gone left, we've gone right. We're gonna have to go downstream to get wet. Everybody see the Tin Man here?
Yeah.
And then did you see the cable that we went under? Mm-hmm. It's just downstream here. That you can see the little cart on the end of where the cable was. That cart is used to come out into the river on the cable. And there's also an instrument that's out in the river off of the Tin Man here. That's to measure river flow. And today that's 2,500 cubic feet per second. This year's peak was about 18,000 cubic feet per second. So what's at least 6 times the flow that we're having today. But the technician will come out in that cart and measure the depth and the speed and the width. And that gives you cubic feet per second. And that's how the USGS, the federal government, measures water in transit. Okay, that's not stored water, it's actual moving water. And if you think of a cubic foot of water as a basketball, that's about a cubic foot. So 2,500 of those every second going underneath this cable right now. So pretty good load of water.
Yeah.
Yeah, until you divide it up, right? And then there's not enough. Yeah. Anyway, that's what this is all about. It doesn't get used much anymore. There's an automated one downstream. This one just kind of used to calibrate. So I was thinking zip line. Top there, down across. Hey, we can put this thing back in use, repurpose. We got a pulley. I don't know. Base. This is Mustang turning around at the USGS cable. All right, guys, here we go. Or Moab, you've seen arches? Yeah, you guys seen those? All right, we've got one in Quebec too. gets shallow, I'll just point at it, okay?
Okay.
Hard to see. Three-quarters of the way up that tree, a little left to center. There you can see the white snowball. That's the white head.
Oh yeah.
So that's one of the adults from this nesting pair. And this nest was abandoned maybe 8 or 9 years ago. The river shifted over to this side, undercut under the nest. The eagles moved back into this dead tree that's just coming into view. You guys may have seen that from the interstate. You can see this nest. So after you find the old cabin next time, look and you'll see this nest. The chicks usually start poking their little heads out about February. So, and this one's produced 8 chicks in 4 years as well. So, pretty cool. I love these eagles. They're such a cool part of our trip.
Oh, there's gonna be dinner.
And cows, those are wild. Those are very, very
Those are
wild.
wild cows, buddy.
Very rare too. Normally they're red when they're wild. That was a good one, huh? Anybody's socks get wet? Right. was that?
It'll soon dry.
Last one.
They don't give those away. You gotta buy a truck. Gotta go buy a new truck. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Had some fun today.
Yes, I did. That's why they actually eyeglasses, because the water is dusty and dirty, so it gets into your eyes.
Yeah.
That was fun.
All right, guys. Everything's a little wet and slippery, so be careful getting out of the boat. Take a hand if you'd like it. And we'll get everybody's life jackets back from them back there where we put them on.
Okay.
Here you go. How was that? Thank you.
Zip right on the end. There you go. Great.
Thanks, Joe.
Oh, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank
coming,
you.
guys.
Oh, that was good.
Woo, man.
Whew.
We're all going to dry out quick. Yeah. We're all waterproof.